Hello, we are Cult. Today I'm going to show you how I write insane amount of words every single day. Except, like, insane amounts a day. I will be honest, I do not write an insane amount of words every single day because I'm actually not perfect. But when I do the things I'm going to say, I do write an insane amount of words every day. And then when I don't do the things I'm going to say, I end up writing 0 words. So use the tips and you can actually write 1,000,000 words a day. Okay, tip number 1 is you have to actually change your identity, right? Because if you're solely focused on, oh my gosh, I need to finish my book, why is it not finished, why is it not finished, you're going to get really agitated. Whereas if you actually just identify as like, I'm a writer, and then you actually enjoy the process of writing and actually have fun, and then also know you're doing it to finish your book, that'll make it so much easier and alleviate some of the pressure. Whereas if you're just like stressed about finishing your book, it's not going to get finished. Next piece of advice, literally, there is no magical life hack. You just have to sit down and actually write. Like, what are you doing while you're not sitting down and writing? Because when you sit down and write, then you can actually get into a flow state. You can actually, if you consistently force yourself to sit down and write every single day, then you'll eventually just get used to it and will consistently write. Whereas if you're just not writing, that's literally the main reason. Like, how to write 1,000,000 amount of words every single day is to actually write. Because if you're not writing, then you're writing 0 words a day. So literally just force yourself to write. Stop it. Like, don't come up with stupid excuses to not write. Just write. Okay, next tip. Instead of focusing on your writing being perfect, or if you type a word wrong, going back to change it, this is wasting time. You can fix it while you're on that part of editing. If you're editing that specific thing, like if you're editing spelling mistakes, then go back. Otherwise, it's literally not that deep. What you have to actually focus on is just carrying on writing and getting all the words down, even if you think it's trash. Because, like, first of all, if you're wasting time going back and focusing on writing the most perfect thing ever, like you read in books, the books have been edited 1,000,000 times. The first draft was, or like, not the first draft, or like the bit you're going back in to edit was probably even way worse, like in the published book, when that book was at the stage you're at now. So it literally doesn't even matter. Also, if you're going back and changing it, it's just not the vibes. Whereas if you consistently are typing all the time and writing, eventually you will improve at writing because you're doing it so much anyways. And then once you go back to edit, you can just change it. And then you've actually already written something. Whereas if you just keep on going back and changing the mistakes, it's going to get so much slower and it's going to take ages and you're just not going to be motivated. And you're just not going to want to finish it. And it's just not going to get finished, period. Because you're wasting your time. Whereas you could just actually be writing. And instead of putting the pressure on yourself for it to be perfect, when you literally haven't even finished writing the book, just finish writing it. Because, like, literally, I remember Lee Bardugo says for her books, like, the first time she writes, she literally just writes down a bunch of random shit of whatever happens, and then she goes back and actually fixes it. And that's every single author. So guys, like, don't stress. It doesn't need to be perfect the first time, okay? Yeah. Also, if you ever get like a sudden urge and be like, wow, I really feel motivated to write, then write. The universe, life is calling to you, being like, right, so just write and take advantage of that. Because sometimes, like, obviously when we aren't in the mood originally and we just force ourselves writing, but if you are in the mood, what are you doing? Right, go for it. Exactly. Okay, next hack is write anywhere. So on public transport, white on public transport, right, on the toilet, right, everywhere. Okay, what I was doing in secondary school is if the teacher is like, if I was ahead of like shit and the teacher was going on, I'd literally just start writing on my phone. I'd have a Google document open on my phone. I'd go for it, start writing. On public transport, well, I did do work on the bus, but also like the bus was like 10 hours long for me. I had to like take a 10-year commute to school every day. So yeah, I would be writing on the bus, except not really. When there was cover lessons or like the teacher was just trash and there's no point even paying attention, I'd be writing. You can literally write anywhere, like literally anywhere, just write. And then, like, if you write like that, the numbers will eventually stack up. Now you're like, Rhea, that's so much effort. Like, normally when I write, I just turn on my computer and shit like that. The first time you try it, it's gonna be hard. Then you're gonna be like, oh, okay, this is how you write, like, on your phone when you're like doing random shit. And then eventually it's gonna make everything come together so much easier and so much faster. I actually only did that in secondary school and I'm not doing it now, so I should probably do that now as well. This entire video is just me. Like, on the days I do write loads of words, yay. On the days I don't write lots of words, I literally just need to watch myself, because what am I doing? Like, this behavior needs to be stopped. And yeah, we're all gonna write an entire mountain worth worth of books, and the words are going to be overflowing, guys. The words are going to be overflowing. It's going to be a masterpiece. We got this. Next, okay, if you're writing, you're in the process, you're in the flow, it's going, you know how people are like, I write for 1 hour and then I take a 5-minute break. I write for 25 minutes and then I take a 5-minute break. Okay, look, right, if you're in the flow of writing and you're feeling the vibes and you're just writing and writing and writing, and then you're like, oh shit, I need to take my break, then once you've taken your break and come back, it's going to take ages to get back into the flow. So you know that thing that happens when you're writing and then it's like, oh my gosh, this is all coming together, this is so much fun, I'm so engrossed in the scene, oh shit, the time is up. Ignore the time, literally ignore the time. Like, breaks are good and will help you like go on and shit like that, I get you, but if you're in the flow state, literally just ignore breaks, because then you can literally be going on for 10 more hours and enjoying it. And it's literally, because when you're in that flow state, you're literally like, it's not even work. The break is more work than writing, because writing is actually fun, guys, you know, exactly. So yeah, like if you're actually in that flow state, and if you're just like, oh my gosh, you know in that Pixar movie Soul, where they're like, oh my gosh, this is like do 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 do, and then that person is like playing the saxophone, and then they're so engrossed in playing the saxophone in that room with purple light, and it's like do 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 do. That's literally you while you're writing. You're feeling the vibes, you're in the state. Do you seriously want to break it and then take a bunch of effort to go back? No, so then carry on. Exactly. Okay, if you're finding it hard to write, first of all, literally just be disciplined and just carry on writing. And then if you consistently write every single day because you're forcing yourself to, even if it's hard, then that will lead to it becoming a habit, and then that's just really easy for you to do because habits are second nature, etc. But also, if you are finding it hard and you want to get through that whole stage of life and you're just like, wow, this is really hard, what the hell, imagine yourself writing and finding it easy. I know that's really dumb advice, but it actually does help. Like, I literally just imagine myself typing and feeling the vibes, and then I am typing and feeling the vibes. So guys, literally just imagine yourself typing and feel the vibes. Okay, what you also need to do is think, okay, be honest with yourself and actually accept what you are writing now. Be like, how many days am I actually writing a week? How much am I actually writing a day? Because if you like are in denial that you're writing 0 words a day, because, okay, let's do this with me. Okay, this week doesn't count because I literally visited my friends. But normally I would say I do write 7 days a week. Sometimes something does come up. So like, let's say 6 to 7 days a week. Am I writing 10k words every single day? Probably not. I don't know. It's really jarring because each day is so dramatically different, because sometimes I do follow the productivity tips and sometimes I don't. So what I need to personally do is consistently follow every single one of it, like pieces of my advice. So then I actually consistently write a lot of words, like not 10k words every single day, but like loads of words every single day, and slay every single slay. Exactly, you get what I'm saying? So you need to accept where you are and don't delulu yourself into thinking you're being productive when you're actually not being productive and you wrote 0 words, but you're like, oh my gosh, I got on the laptop and typed one word. No, you need to actually accept, because then if you don't accept how you are like writing currently, then you won't be able to change it. So literally just be honest with yourself, and you can be like, wow, currently I've been really shit at writing. You can be like, wow, currently I've actually been okay at writing. Or like, oh my gosh, I'm the best writer, I'm writing 1,000,000 single words every single day. So exactly, literally be honest with yourself. You're welcome. You guys might be like, Ria, wow, okay, thank you for your advice, I feel motivated to write. But then I get out the laptop and I start typing and literally no ideas are in my brain and I don't even know what to do. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is what you do. Start typing random shit, even if it's trash. Listen to like writing music, and then imagine your characters doing shit to that scene, and then you'll suddenly get a really good idea. Like, just like stan your own book, because you're obviously passionate about your book because you're writing it. So stan your own book, and then you'll be like, oh my gosh, actually that's right. Or literally just switch to a different scene. If you're writing the scene and it's not working, then just skip to a different scene, and then just do all the scenes you do like, and then maybe, oh yeah, and then also another idea that I do is like, let's say I'm writing one scene, like, I don't know, let's say I don't know, like I'm writing a scene, and then like these 2 people meet, these 2 people fight, this person dies. Let's say that happens, right? So I'm on the part where they meet and I'm like, wow, this is so really hard. So then I skip to the part of the scene where these 2 fight. Then, oh wait, that's hard. So I'll skip to the scene where that person dies. Oh wait, let's go back to when they meet. Oh yeah. And then I will like, literally like flick back and forth, but it's just one scene. Because I know some people do that thing where they write like different scenes in the book. So they write at the end first and they write the middle, and then they keep on like doing that. I don't really do that. If that would work for you, go ahead. But what I do is when I'm writing one scene, it's like in shambles, because it's not in shambles at all, because I will leave a space. So let's say I'm writing the bit where they meet and I'm like, wait, this is hard. I'll leave space, 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 space. Then I'll go to them fighting, right? Or like, let's say I don't want to even write them fighting. I go to the part where this one kills this one, okay? So then I've done that with like space, 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 space. Then I go back in and meet where they're fighting. And then I go back in and back in. And then it's like you're getting so many more ideas. And it's so, yeah, because like if you're finding it. And then obviously in like most cases, I'm just writing the scene linearly. But then also if I find it really hard to just write a specific idea, I just skip to a different part of the exact same scene and then go back to it later, and then it pieces together really well until there's no spaces and everything's filled. So that is another really good idea. If you're like, Ria, I'm stuck, I literally don't know what to do. Then what if you're also like, Ria, my mental health is literally disintegrating, it's in shambles, it has crumbled like a cookie. Who is she? Mental health. Okay, I've been there with you. When I was in year 13, my mental health was so atrocious, I literally could write 0 words. That's not an excuse, that is the truth. But now if I'm finding it hard, I literally am just like, we have to force ourselves, okay? Because if we actually, like, we can't let this stop. Okay, if your mental health is insanely atrocious and you literally cannot write, that is very valid, and that is I've been there, I understand. But then also some people will be like, oh, mental health, and then won't write and just use it as an excuse. Don't use it as an excuse. Actually write, stop it, self-sabotage. And then also, if you find it hard to write because your mental health is in shambles, literally just force yourself, because even if you write 2 words, that's better than 0 words, and it will add up. So just try, literally just try. And the thing is, if you are writing, like, that's actually really good for you. You're being creative, you're achieving your goals. So then slowly you're showing yourself you love yourself, and then in the long term that might actually improve your mental health. Because if you're writing, you're like, okay, obviously, yeah, like, still bad, mental health, trash, yeah. But like, let's say you're writing and then you're like, oh my gosh, if you do that consistently, it actually will help your mental health in the long term. So maybe just force yourself and be like, okay, this might actually help my mental health, even though my mental health is currently in shambles. And then I'm just going to force myself to do it, because then in the long term it will actually help my mental health, because I'm showing myself I love myself and respect myself by doing this. And then that should alleviate some of the mental health. And you're actually like, I don't know what mental illness you have though, so that might not be accurate. Okay, this is my unmedical advice. Obviously mental health is like can be due to hormone chemical stuff and literally can't be fixed unless you go to your doctors, so slay. But then also, okay, let's say you're depressed, right? So then you're depressed, so then you're not doing shit, like you're not eating healthily, you're not writing because you're depressed. Then that's going to make you even more depressed, and then you're not going to write even more, and it's going to be a whole cycle. So if you force yourself to write and you do other healthy habits, then your brain naturally is like, okay, and then that will help alleviate some of your depression. Do you get what I'm saying? So then if you have, I don't know, PTSD, and your brain is living in the past because of like what happened, if you currently focus on the goals you have now, then that will show your brain, okay, I'm not living in the past anymore, I'm actually focused on the present by writing and achieving my goals. If you have anxiety because you're like, oh wow, I don't know, you have low self-image, so then you have anxiety. If you're writing, then you're showing yourself you actually care about yourself, and you're putting yourself through that situation, and that can actually help you. Obviously that's very unprofessional and unmedical, and ignore everything I just said, but yeah, that also low-key makes sense. And also I literally only talked about 3 mental illnesses, but yeah, basically what I mean is try your best, don't use it as an excuse. If you genuinely can't, that is genuinely okay. Do what is best for yourself, but also please try and write if you can. Slay. Next, you're like, Ria, what the hell? I literally have 0 hours in a day to write. Well, first of all, you can literally just do it on the train, or just cut out other events. Like if you have, I know you're wasting time somewhere in your day where you could be spending that time writing. So write, literally. If you clicked on this video, it shows you're passionate about writing and you actually want to write. So if you're like, Ria, I don't have the time to write, like obviously, okay, maybe you don't have the time to write 10k words, valid, slay. But if you're like, Ria, I don't have the time to write 1k words a day, literally, that is so easy. Just cut out something else. Cut something else out. That is the opportunity cost. And if you're like, oh no, I'm so focused on the loss, also focused on what you gained. You gained that writing, okay? So if you're doing something really stupid. Like, obviously don't cut out like stuff you actually enjoy. Like, for example, I really like hanging out with my friends. I'm not gonna cut that out because that generally brings me really good joy and fulfillment. But if there's something else and you're like, wow, this is actually low-key a waste of time, and I care, not a waste of time, you care about writing more, then stop doing that thing and actually start writing. Exactly. Okay, that's the advice. You're so welcome. Goodbye.